Imagine. Imagine being EA, Electronic Arts, a company that has made both single player and multiplayer games, both the bad and the good. Imagine being Electronic Arts and tweeting out a TikTok trend template, essentially, that throws shade at anybody that has ever played a single player game. What's going on, everybody? Cryptix, and yes, I'm a little late to the party. I've been under the weather. If I sound weird, I'm most likely still under the weather, but I gotta, upload a video for you guys. It's been a little bit over a week, so I'm just gonna get into the nitty gritty. It's probably very similar with other YouTubers' takes, but I do have some other tidbits, so don't forget to drop a like. If you're reluctant to drop a like, if I come up with a point that no other YouTuber has talked about, you gotta hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds of your time. That's my challenge for you. We shook hands over this virtual screen. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into this. Alright, so Electronic Arts, they served this on a silver platter for me, alright? They basically tweeted out and said they're a 10, but they only like playing single player games. Now this is based off of a TikTok trend where it's like the he's a 10 but insert bad quality here, vice versa with the girl, she's a 10 but insert bad quality there. And it's something as simple as he's a 10 but he posts those cringy TikTok workout videos. My guy, stay true to yourself, kings. You are still a 10 in my eyes. Say what? That was a little sus. But let's talk about this tweet right here, which is pretty weird and also just in general very hypocritical of EA, right? Because they've made single player games. Obviously their push has been the multiplayer experiences like FIFA and Ultimate Team. They basically make like over $1 billion a year apparently on microtransactions just for that one game alone. So EA's mindset is obviously the bottom line, whatever makes the most profit, and they could care less about single player games. And this has actually been a trend, right? They've made Dead Space, Crysis, right? Like they've made single player games. Titanfall 2, which I believe was like mostly multiplayer, but it had a single player component, right? They've basically made games that are built for single player, but they know the trend is multiplayer because of profits and microtransactions, so they're moving in that direction. So they've also, this is the most funny thing for me, right? Like, I'm a Star Wars nerd. That's something personal with me. EA created arguably one of the best Star Wars video games in the past 3 years or so, which is Jedi Fallen Order. And in fact, they're coming out with a sequel to one of their best sellers of 2019, right? Jedi Fallen Order. They're coming out with a second game. So the fact that EA is throwing shade at single player games, meanwhile they are basically paying a dev team to create a very successful successor to a very successful single player game in Jedi Fallen Order, makes no sense to me. As a matter of fact, I think a better example would be just to paint a picture for you. Bunch of dudes and women, right? I'm not sexist. Just hovering around a table in their suit and ties and whatever type of not casual, very professional outfits, right? They're all sitting around the table thinking, oh, what should we tweet out that should get some controversy? Oh yeah, I know. Let's just trash single player games because FIFA's making over $1 billion on their multiplayer, and let's just persuade some people to play some multiplayer games with this stupid TikTok trend that came out. And the guy at the head desk or the woman at the head desk goes, all right, send the tweet. It's like such a disconnect from the dev teams that work day in and day out, countless hours. I could never do it, right? Day in and day out on, let's say, for example, the second game in the Jedi Fallen Order franchise. Imagine being a developer on that team, seeing the, monopoly that is EA in a certain regard, a umbrella company in EA, which is the better way to phrase this, basically trashing single player games as a whole. It would make me feel like I'm not wanted or appreciated as a developer, a gaming developer, creating a single player game for you, and meanwhile, the first one was a great success. That's where I really think this struck a chord with me too, because these guys, these, men, women, whatever gender you are, like, they work so hard on some of these single player titles, whether it's an EA game or a game that's not from EA, right? Elden Ring, I can't even imagine the amount of hours those devs put in. And to just bash all people that play single player games, it's just a really great picture to see where EA's morals are in terms of, like, where their attention is, basically, right? And as a matter of fact, they've put so much attention on, like, their main IPs, such as Battlefield 2042, that they ditched making a Star Wars Battlefront 3. Now, meanwhile, these are both multiplayer games, right? But EA has been so just tunnel vision. I don't know who's giving them advice. I don't know who's sitting at the desk thinking these are good ideas, but you could have easily made a Battlefront 3 with a great single player campaign, maybe even Galactic Conquest for those of my OG Battlefront fans back in 05, 06. You have the asset files, you have the characters, you have the gameplay. Add in a couple of, maybe like 7, 8 more maps, add in, space to ground combat, add in those things. You could have had one of the best selling Star Wars games of all time, if not the best-selling Star Wars game of all time. They always talk about bottom line and, what's making the most profit on their shareholder calls. FIFA would be right there, and then Star Wars Battlefront 3 would be right next to it, guaranteed. But meanwhile, they put all their attention in their main IP, Battlefield 2042. Also, no single-player campaign at all whatsoever. It's all multiplayer, and it was a complete flop. Now, I did actually play the game recently. It's better than what it used to be in the beta and in the first couple of days, but it's nowhere near where, Battlefield 4 is, for example, right? That's why more people are playing the previous Battlefield games. Like, EA has flopped so hard in so many business decisions that they even decided to tweet out basically, something that just insults everyone that has ever played a single-player game or still does play a single-player game. I think the one thing that really, inclined me to even make a video on this was the fact that I used to play, NBA 2K competitively. I stopped this past year, right? And you could call me a quitter all you want. I don't care. I smoked so many people playing either Park or playing even the My Team mode. My brother mainly played that too, but that's besides the point. I know I can be competitive in a multiplayer game, right? If I put enough effort and time to it, I know I can, crush the competition. Would I be esports league, level? Probably not, but I'm pretty damn good when I set my mind to it. But I realized, I don't want to waste all my time and energy focused on a multiplayer game just to get good, right? When I can just play a single player game and get good without all of the toxicity, without, all those other things. Single player games are honestly so great. Now, I know it's ironic because I'm playing multiplayer right now. You're probably seeing some Star Wars Battlefront 2 gameplay or something along those lines at this point. But I genuinely think EA has great formulas. They have, asset files. They have great dev teams. If they put their, attention more on single player games, they could be just as, if not more successful than they are right now. Think about it this way. If EA ever lost the FIFA license, the soccer license, they would be so dead in the water. The only way they would maybe make a comeback in terms of profits is putting their attention on Madden. But if you take away those two IPs, right, or I guess those two, licenses, they would have to make some single player bangers, right? They can't put all of their eggs in one basket too. If I'm EA, I'm going to make sure I make some single player IP games, some great, licensed Star Wars games, or maybe, another Titanfall or another Dead Space, something like that, right? Maybe an Apex Legends campaign that gives you specific items. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But at the end of the day, EA flopped. And what's funny here is that they actually tweeted out, "Roast well deserved. We'll take this L because playing single player games actually makes them an 11. I believe it's Donkey who actually ratioed them. He says, "How are your tweets worse than your games?" And it's got a crazy ratio, almost tripled the amount of likes that Electronic Arts got. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's just so sad that EA is even thinking about like that being a great idea to tweet out. They need to diversify at the end of the day too, because if they lose their licenses like FIFA, like, you know, Madden, they're dead in the water in terms of profits. They'll burn out for sure. They need to get some single player IPs ramped up. And enough of this live service BS, enough of these loot boxes, right? Make another quality Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order game. Make another quality Mass Effect game. Make another quality Titanfall campaign, an Apex Legends campaign. Make something that is actually worth the user's time, and stop trashing people that actually just want to chill and play a great product on release instead of a roadmap and loot boxes and basically a casino in a video game. So, hope you all did enjoy this video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, comment down below what you think about this, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm Cryptix, gonna hop on a single player game right now, and signing off.